Is COVID-19 ruining Super Sentai, or is it forcing us to work in a more innovative, new direction? Let's discuss. Hey everybody, my name is Robbie, you're watching Geek Level Asian, and today we're going to be discussing how COVID-19 has affected the production, the writing, the directing of Super Sentai over the past few years, and the direction that it's going in. I have a few thoughts on this topic that I'm obviously going to be outlining, and not all of them are positive, but not all of them are negative. But after I talk about all of the points, I will give you my summed up overall perspective on the future of Super Sentai and how I feel about it. And before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, and you know what? If you like these videos in general, make sure to turn on all of your post notifications, because I'm realizing over the past 10 videos I've done that many people are not seeing the videos that are subscribed to the channel. And we still haven't hit 10,000 subs, so I still didn't give away my Hasbro Power Morpher, so remember, that is still a thing. Go follow me on TikTok. That's all you have to do to enter that giveaway. So now the first point I want to discuss is CGI Sentai Zenkaiger just in general as a series, because it came out while COVID was happening. And this was the first time they really changed the formula of the main team of having a bunch of spandex-clad warriors and fighters and a team, and instead they have one who gets one human character, which is obviously Zenkaiger, the leader, Kaito, but then you get the rest of the team, and they're the Kikinoids. Now, I know that there are specific actors, or there are specific suit actors, I should say, who are in those suits at all times, but when it comes to COVID-19, people getting sick, social distancing, there's a few reasons why I can imagine this happen. One of them is when you have 5 suit actors and 5 human actors, like the civilian actors. That's a lot of people to be working with at one time. And not only that, that's a lot of people to be getting sick. If you can imagine, obviously thinking about the safety of the actors and wanting to still innovatively think creatively to put out Super Sentai, this made the most sense because you don't have to deal with 4 to 5 other actors who could possibly get sick. I'm sure in many ways can screw up scheduling, whatnot. But when you have your main cast all having masks on literally at all times, the suit actors, if somebody were to fall ill, you could get somebody else in that suit and you could still film. Now, I don't know if that's all the thought, or I should say, I don't know if that's how they dealt with that, but that seems like it makes a lot of sense, right? Because let's say if the suit actor for Jiran gets sick, you could get Gown in that suit for maybe a one-off scene with Kaito and still film, while also managing social distancing, trying to keep everybody safe, and not put people in a position where they're heavily susceptible to getting COVID-19. So now this brings me to my first positive note. I think that the Kikinoids are a really good idea, not only for the COVID reasons, but also because, don't get me wrong, I love a full team of spandex heroes. Obviously, that's why I do this and I have this channel, but around Kira Major, it was getting a little old. Not the idea of spandex, I'm not saying that, but the theme just wasn't really there, especially we obviously had Rio Soldier, which was, I honestly didn't like Rio Soldier, but coming from Q Ranger, I felt like after Q Ranger, things were just gonna go up and up and up, like they were gonna have all these crazy innovative ideas, and they just didn't. So the Kikinoids to me were kind of like a breath of fresh air, like, ooh, something new. And I happen to really like the characters, so if the Kikinoids were a result of, dealing with COVID, I think that was a positive. We got this really cool idea. Now, here's where the negative comes in for me. Alright, so now I don't say this lightly, but you probably noticed some production changes, or I'll just call them straight up budget cuts. Very obvious budget cuts from CGI Sentai Zenkaiger, if you're caught up on the most recent episodes. Or just production cuts that I don't think really help. One of them was in, I think it's the most recent episode, which is the SD-topia episode, but during the mecha fight, and they do this purposely, it's supposed to be a purposeful thing, but if you watch that episode, you know during the mecha fight, the CGI was literal trash. And they purposefully, in the plot, in the story, they made it a thing, like the monster made the world look like that, but it just looks really bad. Like, if you were learning how to do CGI in, middle school, that's what that fight looks like. I get, like, hey, maybe they were on a time constraint and they were like, all right, we're just gonna turn the whole world into a more cartoony-like world. It's a band-aid on a sinking ship, if you know what I mean. Some of you may have liked it, but it had like Virtua Fighter 1 vibes. And then the next example like that, which is like a huge production cut, is in episode 41 where the mecha split apart from each other. It's literally like looking at toys. Like toys on a miniature world. And it looks very funny. Like, it looks like a joke. I rewound that scene multiple times to make sure that it wasn't like the Estitopia episode, and I was like, maybe they do turn into toys and I'm just missing something. No, they're supposed to be huge. And it just looks ridiculous. Now, where this kinda, you know, you gotta think about it going back to like the 90s and the 80s, and when they actually had physical models of all of the mecha. Like, picture Zyuranger, for example, because that's like the one that I started out with, obviously. Like, if you look at that stuff and you look at everything coming together and the production value that went into that and the time that went into that, I actually normally prefer the models. I think that that looks better. I don't like the CGI mecha fights, but in this, they didn't put that quality into it. It's more just like, these are literal, maybe like plastic or resin 3D printed toys. And it's a dude going like this, like splitting them apart. You know, it just doesn't have the same feel, and it takes me out of it. You know, it just makes the whole thing feel fake to me. And obviously, I'm an adult now, but as a kid, I would have been smart enough to know, like, this looks ridiculous. So now this is a slight segue, and this is gonna go a little bit into Donbrothers, which we all know if you are following the news about the new Sentai team. It's called Avataro Sentai Donbrothers. I might be saying that or pronouncing that incorrectly. And we've been introduced to the leader already in episode 46, where he shows up on his CGI motorcycle. Again, this thing looks absolutely ridiculous. Where is his leg? What is going on? Who edited this together? Listen, I know that Sentai is not known for great CGI. I'm not saying that. I'm really not saying that. Whenever they do like Majin CGI, like magic, I love that stuff. It's hokey, it's funny, it's supposed to be. But when it's supposed to be practical, like, this is supposed to be an entrance of, you know, the new red leader, and the shot just looks ridiculous. It's two different things. I don't want you to mistake, like, oh, Robbie expects this production of CGI from Super Sentai that's unrealistic, and if you go to the old shows, you'll see that all the CGI is bad. Guys, I know that. There is a difference, though, between poor execution and it's just kind of supposed to be like that. But see, now this is a big part of why I'm making this video, and that's the future of Super Sentai. Now with Donbrothers being announced, we've been introduced to a new way that Toei is basically going to approach the idea of not having a full cast of humans, meaning 2 of those characters are CGI. That's the Pink Ranger and the Black Ranger. I don't know if they're gonna have human counterparts. It doesn't seem like they are from what I've read. What I do think is a positive, and I think it's great that in 2022, like, we're just living in a world where there can be a male Pink Ranger, and it's okay. Like, it's about time. Yes, guys, I know in the Boom Studios comic, there was a male Pink Ranger that Zordon created years ago. I know that. I'm talking about the live action show. I also know that in other series like Tokuger and Gokaiger, yes, when they switch costumes, there's Pink Rangers. Feel free to not have to comment that stuff. See, the question for me is, and I'm just curious to see how well it'll play out, is that I think some of the shots of, like, Kuttner and Ricky look bad. Like, I think they look bad, and it takes me out of the show a little bit. They're not the main cast, though. They're only in the show every once in a while. Now we're gonna have 2 characters that are literally the main cast. And I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out literally in every shot or every scene where those characters are part of the storyline, especially in the contextual evidence that I've been mentioning, where sometimes it takes you out of the show, sometimes it just doesn't look right, sometimes it just is a little goofy. So I promised you guys that I would give you my overall thoughts and opinions about this towards the end. And you probably have already guessed it. I am a little bit disappointed because I thought after Zenkaiger we would go back to Spandex Hero Team. That is, you know, it's a classic thing that we obviously have loved for many, many, many years. And I do like the human cast, the civilian cast. I think that's something that helps me connect with the characters. Obviously, you can connect with the Kikinoids from a personality standpoint, but it is different, right? It's different. But now that being said, I would love to know your thoughts, not only on Zenkaiger and Donbrothers, but just the future of Super Sentai. Are you done with the spandex heroes, or do you want it to go back to that? Do you really not care? Do you think that the CGI characters are just going to be fine, or are you not really looking forward to that? I'd love to hear how you feel, and if you have any really great points that I've either missed or maybe I'm just wrong about, tell me. But that's really all I have to say about that. Thank you very much for getting to this point in the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with all this Toku talk. And again, if you want to win my Hasbro, I don't know if it's going in focus, but my Hasbro Power Morpher, make sure to go follow me on TikTok, because that's how you enter the giveaway. You could also follow me on Instagram. I'm on those like pretty much all day. Be good, have a great week, and may the power protect you.